bunch of things in the mail. It is important that when an officer comes to your home and gives you a summons, like a request to show up in court, that is when your timeline, your deadline, respond to the summons. You need to file something. Even if you get a date for court and you think, I can just show up for my court date.
When I was 21, I was stupid, and they were stupid for giving me a $10,000 credit limit when I had no other credit history ever before.
When these creditors come for me talking about I owe them something, prove it in court.
These are 3 companies that will sue you so quick and send you a summons if you go into a derogatory state with them.
Those companies will not sue you directly, and again, they can hold on to it for as long as they want to and try to attempt to collect on that debt. Once they're unsuccessful with collecting on that debt, then it'll be sold to Midland Credit Management, IQ Data, Jefferson Capital, Midland Credit Management, Midland Funding.
Hey, I'm your host, Miss Bree, to this video series called What's Going On in the World. Credit card companies are finally suing customers for not paying back their debt. I want y'all to watch these clips with me. I'm going to be giving my hot takes on the topic, and I want you all to do the same in the comments. Let's watch these clips together.
You are being sued by a credit card company, or rather a debt collector acting on the behalf of a credit card company. Listen up real quick so you don't make the same idiot, silly goose mistakes I made today. You're going to get a bunch of things in the mail. It is important that when an officer comes to your home and gives you a summons, like a request to show up in court, that is when your timeline, your deadline, this goes for a lot of court shit, okay? As soon as you get a summons, you have like a week or two. You need to check your laws, and it literally will say on the paper, respond to the summons. You need to file something. Even if you get a date for court and you think, I can just show up for my court date.
That's not how life works, ladies and gentlemen. And I feel like a lot of Gen Z, honestly, are the perfect customers for these credit card companies. Because number one, Gen Z is pretty young. I think like the oldest Gen Z is somewhere between the ages of 25 to maybe 27. So honestly, most of Gen Z hasn't lived long enough to realize it's all a gimmick to keep you on the hook for constantly paying debt that's difficult to pay off. You better be using ChatGPT, and asking questions about what's the next proper step to take in your county. So that way you won't be on the hook for a debt that you did not properly represent yourself in court for. The thing is yes, you still owe the money, but there's ways and loops around every little thing that you could possibly do legally. So if you're not even doing a due process, it's a default judgment. You're going to get garnished for not paying that debt, especially because you lost in court because you didn't even show up or file the proper documentation.
You have to submit your answer before even going into court. I did not know this, and I did not read enough words on the important papers they gave me to know that ahead of time. So I'm hoping this helps maybe one person.
I was 21, no credit history. They gave me $10,000.
That's what credit card companies do. It's so predatory. But honestly, it's a good business because you can just give out credit cards to ignorant people who are barely 18, who don't know what they're signing, and they're going to be stuck with that for life if they don't pay it off. And with the interest rates being so high, it's not even worth using credit unless you're really actually buying an asset with it. Because I've heard interest rates literally being as high as 28%. That's super predatory. Extremely predatory for any type of debt the normal consumer will borrow. And these credit card companies are not playing with y'all. They are garnishing your bank accounts because you think you don't have to pay it back. You think they ain't got the rights to do it because you closed your account. No. They're gonna go after you because you owe a debt to a company that you must pay back with extreme sky-high interest rate.
Just found my grid of Garnish papers. Yay me. This was from a credit card I had booked 10 years ago. When I was 21, I was stupid, and they were stupid for giving me a $10,000 credit limit when I had no other credit history ever before. I tried to pay them off years ago. I was in a debt resolution program for like 3 years, paid off all my other debt. Everyone else settled, made it fair. They did not want to come down at all. Okay, that's fine. I used the money. I'm going to pay it back. I tried to pay them back. I tried to give them. I said, hey, I can give you $50 a month. That's all I can afford. They said, no, we're not going to take it. They said, absolutely not. We need like $300 a month. And I said, okay, from where? I said, I can give you $50 a month. This was like a year ago. And they said, no. So they sued me. They won. A year later is when they start trying to garnish my wages. A year after they won the lawsuit. A year.
The thing is, these credit card companies are very patient. They know to strike when the iron is hot. They run all types of analytical, systemic, statistical programs to figure out the ripe age at which to go after you for garnishment. For most people, they get settled into their careers anywhere between their early to mid-30s. She said she did this when she was 21, young and dumb. I'm placing my bets on she has to be at least touching 30 years old or close to it for them to finally pull the rug on her and say, it's time for us to garnish. Because she should already have full-time employment for us to be able to take every dime that hits that account. So that way we can get our money back tenfold. Because that interest rate doesn't change. What you accumulate on the principal keeps growing and then it snowballs, y'all. That's why you should not be borrowing money you really cannot truly pay back in a specific period of time. They're designed to keep you trapped when it comes to using credit cards to fund your lifestyle, to buy things you need. And I know sometimes it comes in a clutch, but honestly, if you do not have the money to use it, to pay it back without accumulating all that interest in a certain period of time, just don't. It should really only be emergency only, not a means in which you balance paying your day-to-day lifestyle and bills. That's not how you should be using credit if you cannot actually pay it back.
And when they won, again, they tried to say, hey, we need like $200 a month. And I said, so again, like I said the first time, I do not have that. I cannot give you something I do not have. I'm a working mom. I was the only one working at the time. It was me, myself, and I had 2 jobs. Everything I made was going to bills. I tried to give them $50 a month a year ago. Now at this point, what's 50 times 12? 600? I would have paid $600 off. But no, now they're coming for my wages.
These are 3 companies that will sue you so quick and send you a summons if you go into a derogatory state with them. So starting at number 3 is going to be Citibank. Citibank does not play when it comes to the debt that you owe them. If you owe Citibank a debt, best believe they're going to do everything in their power to get that money back. And that could be sending you a summons in hopes you don't respond. That way they can garnish your wages.
And they know most people don't respond to summons because most people don't typically get sued and litigated, especially by corporations. Most lawsuits happen in small claims court. You offend someone or do something that causes financial damages. Therefore, you get summoned to a small claims court. But most people don't actually deal with being sued in general. So when they get a letter in the mail saying you're summoned to a court appearance, they're like, well, I'm not showing up because I don't want to pay it back. That's not how the legal system works. If you're not going to hire a lawyer, proper counsel to walk you through that process because you don't have the money, then use any type of free resource, ChatGPT search, Google search you can to figure out the proper way. You could even call down to the actual court and ask them what are the next proper steps to take based on the documentation you received in the mail. Of course, they're going to always say, well, we're not legal counsel, but these are the steps you can take to kind of clear their end, But if you're not doing a proper process, you're going to get garnished every single time. You choose not to pay these credit card companies back thinking you're going to get off scotch-free. No, they're going to come after you full force.
Number 2 is Discover. Discover will also send you a summons if you have an unpaid debt with them. Discover has a very strong legal team, and they will too send you a summons in hopes that you don't answer so that they can garnish your wages as well. They will try to get their money back, and Discover goes to extreme measures to try to do that. Number 1 is American Express. If you owe American Express money, they will go through extreme measures to try to get that money back. So Citibank, Discover, and American Express do not play when it comes to the money that is owed to them.
Come with me to get sued by a creditor. Your girl is here on time, earlier than ever. So I can't tell y'all who's suing me right now, but I'll tell y'all when I come out the results, what happens and what the judgment is. When these creditors come for me talking about I owe them something, prove it in court. I'll be there.
See, the thing is, they're going to prove it in court if they have legal counsel there to represent them in this case. And good thing that she's showing up, but did she properly do the due diligence process, the formal legalities of following exactly how to process documentation for a summons? Like, the court system is extremely black and white in formalities, meaning you have to do a particular set of steps and processes so that way you can be basically like aligned with exactly how it should go. Just showing up and saying this is wrong, I don't owe them money or what have you. Not saying this is her case, because it seemed like she's doing the proper steps. But a lot of times people will just show up with an attitude and documentation when that's not even how you handle the court system. That's why so many people have default judgments against them. Are you being garnished for old credit card debt? How much credit card debt do you have to pay back? How much do you owe, y'all? Let me know in the comments below.
You will never get a judgment based off of what you think I owe you.
The only reason that they have not been sued yet is because it's still with the original credit card company. So let's say it's Bank of America, Chase Bank, Discover, Capital One, American Express. Those companies will not sue you directly. And again, they can hold on to it for as long as they want to and try to attempt to collect on that debt. Once they're unsuccessful with collecting on that debt, then it'll be sold to Midland Credit Management, IQ Data, Jefferson Capital, Midland Credit Management, Midland Funding. So all of those companies will then obtain the debt, which is not sold by pennies on the dollar. A lot of people will say it's just sold pennies on the dollar. No, it's not. It's still sold for a lump sum of what the original balance is.
Most likely the debt is sold for literally exactly what's owed to these companies that like to purchase this debt from big corporations, whether it be Chase, American Express, so on and so forth. The reason why these major corporations sell the debt is because they want a squeaky clean image. They don't want their name all in the news saying they're suing their customers for unpaid debt. That's going to scare away other ignorant customers for borrowing money they can't afford to pay back. This is all a game of illusion. They're still on the back end gonna get that money when you do a default judgment for not filing proper paperwork when you get summoned. And the thing is that some debts can be sold for pennies on a dollar, but that's a totally different process that they do with other companies when they realize that they can't actually properly sue the borrower. The reason why is because it could be the type of signatures or the way that you actually chose to accept the debt. Sometimes there is that gray area of being able to argue whether or not you were actually truly signing for it or in agreement to take it on, even if you received it. There's so many loopholes to so many different legal things. That's why it's important that you seek legal counsel, because a lot of times out of 10, you could either settle your debt or completely absolve it because they can't legally bind you to it. That's free game, y'all.
So then it will charge off. So when you see a difference on your credit report from collection to charge off, that still means you owe that debt. It's just charged off, and it's charged off to Jefferson Capital, IC Systems, Midland Credit Management, IQ Data. So again, the original creditor will then drop off your credit report, and then the third party will come after you and sue you.
Let me know down below in the comments, are you actually managing your credit debt appropriately? Do you really feel like it's helping you to manage your lifestyle or any type of other endeavors that you're pursuing, such as using it to leverage against an asset? If not, let me know what your situation is when it comes to this. Are you even actively being garnished? If you want to see more videos like this, check them out here. Make sure to subscribe and turn on bell notifications because I don't want you to miss my next one.